What's up, everyone? Today we have a Honda, I don't know, look at the numbers, but I can't remember exactly what it is, but has a GCV 160 on it. It's variable speed, has like the smart drive system on it. Tires look like they're in good condition. Fuel valve is broken. The little piece of plastic is, oops, the little piece of plastic is snapped off. I have no idea anything about this. I do know that it looks good. There's no obvious damage with the exception of stuff like that. I haven't even checked the oil. I do know that it's not frozen. There we go. The filter's okay. Gas is a third of the way full, maybe less. Oops. That's the spec. An HRR216 VKA. Cables are not frozen. The blades look good. I don't really look like there's any dings in them. Nothing that large, at least. And I got this for $40, I believe. Wow. And if it runs good, I might be. There is oil in there. It's not even that bad. It's probably should still be changed, but it's not horrible. Anyway, if this runs good, I might be keeping this one for myself and selling my recycler. My recycler last year had a little bit of a self-propel issue. It just kind of stopped. Cleaned it out, put new grease in there. Works great now, but that's either going to be a backup mower, and I'll sell my backup, or I mean, it's running, and I have no reason to think it wouldn't. I don't even know what exactly happened. I think the little gear had slipped off or something. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, this might be my new one. So I'm just going to throw some carb spray down the intake. We'll give her a pull and see what's going on before we... Yeah, I think that we'll do that. This does have the auto choke, so I'm not too much of a fan of that. That could very well be the problem right there. Maybe the choke is stuck and it's just never receiving choke. I don't know. You know as much as I do. I looked at what you saw very first time with you. Okay, let's do this. Let's put the cleaner down the throat of the carburetor and see what's going on. The choke is closed, so at least the auto choke system appears to be functioning normally so far. There. Let's try this anyway. Well, we have two things going on right now. Probably a carb problem. The fuel needs to be, or the on and off, the shut off needs to be replaced. I have one of those. Ordered the part yesterday and it came today. A genuine Honda one too. It's nice. And that pull cord is like 1.5 feet too short, so we're gonna be lengthening that. And it doesn't want to return all that well either, so we're gonna make it retract and just be a lot smoother. It's probably dirty, needs to be cleaned out and re-lubricated. So it's start with the carb because that's going to take a little bit more time, and then we will do the recoil and the fuel shutoff. I have videos about this in my other videos, or that didn't make sense, you know what I mean. But the choke system I was talking about, this wax-filled little plug, and I don't know if just like the extreme heat or the fact that it's experiencing extreme heat and then it cooled down afterwards, it's the reason why it does this, but from time to time they do fail. Wow. This bolt really doesn't want to come out. Both of them. There we go. Finally. Let's just leave that there. Get this out of our way so you can see better. How's the fuel line feeling? Huh, fuel line's pretty good actually. This isn't very old. Let's see. Yeah, it does have one. It's behind here. You can't see it because of this plate, but it's one of those, so that's not a problem at all. This we want to take off. It's not really wanting to cooperate very well. There we go. These clips are not the easiest thing to take off either. Would be easier. Flip it around a bit. If you hear a noise in the background, it's my neighbor. He recently had me fix a hedge trimmer that you will be watching. I want to say recovery, but it's not. It's the recovery. There we go. I guess it's the same word, isn't it? Sometimes if you just twist them, they will kind of break like the little seal they have going on, and then that makes it a lot easier to take off. Now there is fuel. The fuel line is open, but I put a small pair of vice grips on the line right there so we can then replace the fuel shutoff. But that we don't worry about right now. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. I don't run across too many broken fuel valves, but when I do, it's almost always where if this one's broken, the little mounting bracket. Get a little persuasion. There we are. We're persuaded. A little gooey. Could be plugged. needle on the float looks fine. I don't know if that screwdriver is just too big, or, I mean, it is moving the jet, but it's not being too friendly with it. It's definitely some resistance in there. Now we're getting somewhere. Be interesting to see what the emulsion tube looks like. When they drill this, this is smaller than the bowl nut, so the last couple threads are too big. So it's a little difficult sometimes to get it out, especially if it's already having real difficulties. There we go. Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's not too bad. I might just leave that one. Should have done the same with that one, but that was huge. Oh, we're missing the screw. That's not good. Let's clean this up a little bit. Something I am noticing though is there's no adjustment. What I mean by that is this right here usually has an adjustment screw, but this one is not, which isn't a horrible thing. Okay, I'm going to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner for about 15 minutes, and we'll be right back. Drain the fuel. Put some non-ethanol in there. Got this all cleaned out, so it should be pretty good. Well, I will be putting non-ethanol in there. I shouldn't say I did already, because still need to change the fuel line. Well, the fuel shut off. There we go. Okay. So the main jet was most definitely blocked. Not horribly, but it was definitely obstructed. And it came out pretty decent. But the idle jet was completely just plugged, or the right here, that was completely sealed. I ended up having to use a small drill bit. No, I didn't make it any bigger. I found another one that it was probably in the same condition as this one. So it's not like I should just be cleaning that one and clean that one on. No, it's about the same, but that at least wasn't plugged. But what I did want to do is get another screw. Oddly enough, the one that I wanted to take off was, or the one I was checking, was missing the same one. So I'm hoping these are the same size. Let's see here. Oh, maybe he doesn't even need it. Well, we'll put it in there anyway. Yeah, I don't think he even needs it. But just for general principle, let's just put it in. Because usually there's this piece extends down and then touches that. But because it's a lawnmower, I'm sure they don't even bother. There's no reason for it to idle. At least not this one. It doesn't have a adjustable throttle. Okay, and put it back on. We'll give it a try. Before we do that, let's do this. Now, if you're going to remove this spring, I like to remove it here because there's two settings. If you're going to remove it from there, just make sure you know which one you're removing it from. Oh, this is hard. Okay. Oh, man. A little secure thing on here. Would you believe it's 3 days later? I was doing this. A neighbor came by and needed pretty hefty amount of work done and some help. So being the nice guy that I am, I helped him. Unfortunately, that left no time for the rest of the weekend. And due to work, I only have time on Wednesdays. So here we are, Wednesday after. By the way, this is the part. This Amazon sticker covers it, but that's the part. So yeah, there you go. You can see the broken part. Pretty easy to install. There we go. Just gonna put this back where it needs to be. And there we go. Now that fits in here. So there's like a little crescent cut out, and that just fits in there. There we are. Should be nice and secure now. Okay, now that's done. It's pretty easy. On, off. This is off. Gonna put the carb back on and we'll test out the carb. Got it installed. Fuel line is on. Remove the clamp. Fresh gas. Carb is done. Everything should be ready. Let's give it a pull. Popped a little bit. Put the spring back on. Oh. Wait. Did I? Yeah, everything should be connected. On. It's on. Let's get this out of the way. There's definitely something going on with the choke. Took it apart and I noticed that the bowl was full, so I was thinking maybe it wasn't getting enough gas. Even though it did run, it's kind of in the back of my mind, but I want to at least exclude it. It had enough fuel, there's no problem there. I cleaned it again, and this time I literally took everything off of it, even the Welch plugs, put them back in, sprayed it all out. Everything seemed fine. I didn't really even find anything in there. Cleaned it all out. Fine tooth comb, Got the carb brushes out, everything. Then, putting it back on, and the gasket that's right behind the air cleaner, there's a hole in it. In fact, let me get one. This isn't the right type, but it is similar. It just looks a little different, and I think the hole is smaller on this one. But anyway, this hole has to correspond with like a passage, and if it doesn't run right. Not to mention, may not start. I was noticing it was on backwards. I don't know if I did that or the other person that had this before did it. So, put everything back together. Now it's super clean, so if it starts, I don't know if it was, I'm assuming it's a gasket or it could still have been a carb. Let's give it a shot. So at this point I'd say take your pick on which one you think it is, but I'm assuming it was the gasket. Something I should double check, I overlooked, and it cost me a good hour. Maybe not a whole hour. But definitely double check that. So let's work on this recoil. Took it off. I'm not going to show that. I'm hoping you would understand. Just take off 3 10mm nuts, and you are there. And this string is completely fine. The only real problem is if I do keep this, P&W has a fairly long reach. I don't feel like overdoing it one day and completely tearing out my shoulder or hurting my hand. So I'm going to extend it. And I think it might have been shortened anyway, based on this. I like to keep this around because you never know when someone buys something from you and forgets to bring bungee cords. Then you become that person. Let me tell you, word of mouth is the best thing you can have for this type of little hobby. Or side business, whatever you want to do it. So because I am extending it, I'm going to rotate this around one more time. If it's super hard, don't force it. I feel like that's a pretty common thing. Now I didn't torch the ends. I'm hoping I don't have to. If I do, I do. Usually if you start it from this side, you can get lucky. And nope, I'm gonna have to torch them. I'm gonna try the other end. I think the other end was better, even right now. Okay, I'm gonna go in the backyard or the shed and grab my torch. Be right back. Yeah, I should have done this in the beginning. I mean, even then, it's a good idea to do it just because it prevents it from fraying. So, don't do what I just did and try to get away with it. Okay. So how I tie, go under, around, and in. It's better than just tying it 2 times. It's a bigger knot, it's never going to go through. Chances of that coming undone is fairly slim. And it's a pretty good size for most recoils. See? Just fits in there nice and snug. But before we let the screwdriver out, take the other end and we do the exact same knot. I'm not a Boy Scout, I have no idea what this is called, but it's one that I use. And there we are. So now, carefully remove. Actually, before we do that, get your favorite oil. I think you know which one mine is. It's Marvel. Put it right here. If you really want to, you can put it in here too. Just a dab, not much. Oil can actually cause a little bit of a problem. And what that does is helps it lubricate the center. That's what hangs it up. Because before, it'd probably be like this. Now, a lot faster. So I'm going to put it back on and we'll try it out one last time. Okay, what do we know about this so far? One, I know it runs now. Well, fingers crossed. I've been doing other things throughout the day, so I don't know, half an hour since I started the last time. Non-ethanol fuel, new fuel clip or a fuel shutoff. The blades look like they're in pretty good shape. They do need to be cut, or not cut, sharpened. But that's easy enough. I'll do that at a later time. Cables work. Self-propel seems to work. I'm going to test that out again, but even when I was leaving it on the table just to see if it would move forward, it moved forward with very little ease or very little effort. I think the cable, the new pull cord is maybe 2 inches too long. I might just shorten it and just redo it on the handle end. Other than that, oil is good. I put a new air filter in there. Plug looked pretty decent. I just cleaned it. I'm not too worried about it. It should be fine. Let's give it one last test drive. Yep, everything should be good. Besides the blades, I think we're pretty much done. So if your recoil on this style of Honda, and even the horizontal shafts, if it's doing the same thing that this one was, where it wasn't retracting very fast, or even at all, try doing that little trick with the oil first. Not the one in the spring, because the spring's fine. The spring, unless it's packed with dirt. Just put a little oil in the center. That's probably where it is. I cleaned up the excess. I didn't show that, but just after you work it in a little bit, clean up the excess. Other than that, that should be about it. If you like what you see, keep watching. Definitely put a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night. Later.